Hi, everybody. I am Holly Celiano, and I have my co-host, Dr. Matthew Singer. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you so much, Holly. It's a pleasure to do this with you again.
Yes, I love these conversations. So we are on continuation of the rules of being human, and we did 1 through 6 last time, which I'll just read. 1, you'll receive a body. 2, you will learn lessons. 3, there's no mistakes, only lessons. 4, a lesson will be repeated until it's learned. 5, learning lessons does not end. And 6, there is no better here, no better there than here. So then moving on, number 7, others are merely a mirror of you.
Hmm.
So we've talked about this before, and I know you see this in your practice.
Yes,
So why don't you go in and explain from your point of view?
absolutely. So, physical reality that we're living in is simply a mirror. So, just like if we were to look into a mirror and I'm looking at my reflection and I want the reflection to smile back at me, it's not going to smile back until I smile. So, if I'm looking at somebody, if I'm speaking with somebody, if I'm having an engagement with somebody that can make me feel one of two ways. If I'm in an engagement with somebody that makes me feel angry, jealous, irritated, whatever that is, if I'm speaking to that person and they're bringing out that emotion in me, I'm actually seeing a reflection of myself in them. So as opposed to a lot of people get that mixed up and they say, I don't like this person. Every time I'm around them, I feel so angry. Well, if we look at the reflection and we ask within ourselves what I'm actually seeing in myself when I'm with them, that's the reflection. They're actually a reflection of me at that moment. They're not the other person, they're actually me. And I know it's a very deep concept, but they're actually me. And I'm seeing something in myself that my ego is having a very hard time with. The ego does not want to admit any kind of a weakness. So it will only try to move away from that pain and it will define it as I don't like this person. This person makes me feel like a loser. This person makes me feel unloved, unappreciated, unwanted. But it's me. So that power is set up so that I can discover the greatness in me, not what's holding me back, but I could realize it's an illusion. I could realize that it's old definitions I was holding on to that I learned, let's say from my parents or from ancestors or society. And now I have the ability to see the perfection in me instead of anything that would cause me to see anything different. I'm able to see the power and not what's holding me back.
I know this is a hard concept for a lot of people because they have a hard time realizing that people are mirrors of themselves, especially if
Mhm.
it's something not in a positive, that
Yes.
somebody's reflecting something negative back because it's hard for us to see the negative in ourselves.
Right.
And if somebody is showing up and they're negative, if we can retrain our brain to say, okay, this person's showing up, what are they here to teach me? What is
Mhm.
it about them that I don't like that maybe is a part of me that I need to work on to heal?
Yes.
And
Perfect. Like,
if you can
yeah.
just constantly make that shift, it's really training the mind to be aware and
Yes, it really is. And, this is something which, like you said, the ego does not want to see anything that would make us think that we're not good enough or it's my fault or I'm the problem. But the soul says, this is why I set up this opportunity, right? And that's where the growth is.
yes, it's all about growing and expanding and becoming a better human being.
Yes. I'm just real quick. This story always stands out. I remember, so. I was I was about a year into practice, and I had a patient come in, and um, this patient had an issue with their stomach. They had a major disease going on in their stomach. So, the first time they came in, I was working on them, I was testing them, and there was an emotion that showed up, and it was an emotion of jealousy. And I said, I want to ask you just a random question. I said, the word jealousy showed up. What does that mean? And the woman started crying, and she said, I can't take it anymore. Every time I talk to my sister, I have this rage inside of me of jealousy. And I can't look at her, I can't talk to her. So I said, let's break this down. Let's make this really easy. I said, your sister's you. And I said, what are you seeing in yourself when you talk to your sister or see your sister or think of your sister? And then she says, she took a second and then, composed herself and she said, oh my gosh, what I see is I see my sisters living the life that I wish I was living, that I had the chance to live, but made the wrong decisions and I have regret. I said, well, so it's not your sister. It's you're believing that the decisions you made were wrong and you're holding on to this regret. And then I got her to see that there's no such thing as regret, that every decision you made was for a divine reason. Then I got her to see the perfection of the decisions she did make does serve her in a huge way. Because the path that she took instead was a path that when we broke it down really was her highest joy. And like in an instant, the entire charge was gone. And then she left the office and called her sister.
That's great.
Yeah. Right? Pretty interesting.
Yes. So, anybody that's dealing with difficult people, look and say, what are they here to teach me? And is
Mhm.
there an aspect of myself that I am like that I'm ignoring or choosing not to see?
Yeah. Beautiful.
So, the next one is what you make of your life is up to you. Now, a lot of people feel, oh, I just got dealt the bad deck of cards and, the universe is out to get me all the time and I can never get ahead and life is hard and nothing ever works my way. But every single day we get a clean slate of what we're going to do. And you can start to transform your life each and every day with choices you make, things you listen to, what you put in your mind, what you're hearing, who you associate with. Um, it's up to you for the choices you make. And if you look at life, there's I'm sure have been times of forks in the road for people, and they chose one way, and if they had gone a different way, they would have had a completely different life or different outcomes. Um, because it's up to us what we do with our life.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the first laws of the universe says what we put out is what we get back. So we know that if we're putting out a false belief that we're not supported or that it doesn't work out for me, then the only thing that we can see in our reality is that thinking that life doesn't work out for us. And then you and I both know the second we change our thinking, all of a sudden the universe matches that.
Mhm.
And if we feel blessed, if we feel prosperous, if we feel abundant, all of a sudden it matches that. That's the free will. That's the power that we really are given. And like you're saying, most of the time we don't know it. We don't realize it. We don't realize that there's rules to this life that we're living that are designed to help us. And
Right.
right, if we play by the rules, we'll say, "Oh my gosh, this is the most amazing life I could ever imagine."
Yes. Well, imagine if you woke up every day just saying, this is the most amazing life. I
Yeah.
love my life. I love all the people I'm surrounded with. I love the opportunities. I love what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I love who I am. I mean, most people
Yes.
don't even like who they are. They beat themselves up.
Yes. Because they're so afraid to look at themselves and they're convinced that they have to be somebody else,
Mhm.
thinking that they can't achieve that. So they live their life not loving themselves.
Yes. And if
Wow.
you wake up Just being in that vibration and saying that every day, your life is ultimately going to change.
Yeah. Very powerful, right?
It is. It is. People don't realize the power that we have within our being and by our thoughts and our actions, how it does create our reality.
Yeah, truly does.
Okay, so number nine, life is exactly what you think it is.
Hmm.
And this goes in line with what we just spoke about. But if you think life is hard, then life is going to keep showing up being hard for you.
Correct.
If you think you're living in abundance, well, then you'll keep having abundance show up in miraculous ways.
And it's exactly right. That's the mirror. We're told that life is literally just a mirror,
Yes.
and- right? And when we're able to actually decipher that, and whatever we put in front of the mirror is going to reflect back. So we can choose what we're going to put in front of the mirror. Am I going to put, I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm the greatest athlete, I'm a genius. Whatever we're going to put in that mirror, we're going to get back,
Mhm.
right? It's that simple,
Yes.
right? Case closed. Nothing more to say about that.
And then on the flip side, we'll have people say, but right now I'm homeless. I'm living on the
Right.
street. I have no money. I have
Mhm.
no family or friends. I have no food. How do
Yeah.
we say, what do we say to somebody in those situations?
Well, that's where my favorite answer to that goes to conversations with God. Well, Neil Donald Walsh was literally living on the streets. And he, in his book, he says that the moment he surrendered, and he said he just surrendered, that's when he started getting the inspiration, the ideas, everything started flowing, the opportunities started coming to him. He was like literally living in a tent in a park, and then he just surrendered. So the first step when you're at that place is to surrender
Mhm.
your false beliefs, your false definitions, your false ideologies about who you think you are or what you think you can't do. Surrender it.
That's similar to a story I'm sure you've heard of Og Mandino. He
Hmm.
wrote wonderful books. I love him as an author. And he was homeless, living on the streets, lost his family, lost everything. And he had these inspirations of writing these books, and he started writing them, and he became, a multimillionaire and one of the greatest authors of all time. Um,
Hmm.
so, people can turn their life around. Again, like you said, it is surrender.
Yes. And what's interesting when we hear those stories about that triumph where they were literally living on the streets to now being multimillionaires, that's really where their higher self is guiding them. And they look back and you can listen to interviews with those people and other people like that. And they look back and they say, at the time they couldn't figure out how it would get better. And then once they surrendered, it was like they were just led to
Mhm.
this land of prosperity, which means it's always there for us. We are always creating this greatness. We just have to surrender into it. That's all we have
Correct.
to do.
Correct. We get in the way. We
Yeah,
block it.
we absolutely block it.
Yes. So the next one is the answers lie inside of yourself. And you and I have talked about this before, but everything that you need to know is inside of you. It does not exist outside of you. It's all inside of you.
Yes. That's where I was listening to someone ask Bashar a question, and they said, I don't know which path to take. I don't want to make a wrong decision. And the answer was so amazing. The answer was, you are the path.
Mhm.
You're the path.
Right.
The path isn't outside of you. You're the path. The only thing you have to do is decide what brings you the highest joy on that path. So if you're choosing a path where you're forcing yourself or struggling with something, then that's not the right path. You're making your path rocky and uphill and treacherous. You're the path. We just decide what that path looks like.
I was talking to a friend this week about exactly this, that we have knowledge inside of us and our body does talk to us. So
Hmm.
if you're faced with a situation or you're around, in an environment that's not good for you or have a decision, your body, if you feel into your body, you
Hmm.
will know whether it is good for you or bad for you. Like you'll, like for me, I get like a heart pain if something's not good for me.
Yes.
Um, in my past, I've my mind has overrode what that feeling was because it's something that I wanted the outcome to be, but my body was telling me, no, that's not good. But my mind said, no, go for it. And
Yes.
it put me in a really bad, like, circumstance by not listening to my body. So if everybody listens, that's the real secret. Your body will
Yes.
tell you what's right or what's not right for you, but you have to listen to it.
Correct.
And it's learning to say, even though my mind really, really, really wants this, if it's not right for me, I need to listen to what my body is saying.
Correct. So true.
Hmm. So it's how do we listen to our body? It's really just being still and knowing yourself. To know
Yes.
thyself is to set yourself free.
Correct. It's that still small voice. I
Yes,
bring it from the head to the heart. The heart's the seat of the soul. And in that space, that's where all the answers are.
yes, exactly. Then the next one is you will forget all of this.
Mhm. And,
And
and that,
our,
that's so, yeah, that's so true because that's the agreement, to the rules of this game that we're playing, is
Mhm.
that we choose to forget it.
Yes. And then we have to remember.
Yes, exactly right. So, what better way to set up a scenario where so let's say God, the creator, gives us this opportunity where we're in the all that is, and we're saying, um, I want to experience other things besides pure bliss. I want to experience hurts and worries and fears and doubts. I want to forget that I'm infinite intelligence and unlimited. I want to forget that I'm the creator, that I can create anything. I want to forget that. And then along my journey, I want to meet people who have an idea that I can do something or who tell me that we are amazing. And I want to go on this journey with other people who inspire and motivate a memory in me that brings me back to the realization that I am the power. Like how amazing is that, right?
It is. And then there's also unlearning of things that we thought were truth to bring you back to your true truth.
Yes, exactly right.
Yes. And then the last one is you can remember it whenever you want. And that sounds easier said than it is. But again, the answers lie inside of you. So when you get really still, you'll remember. You will remember who you are. You'll
Hmm.
have this euphoric feeling of awakening and realization of who you really are, what you're here for, and what this life is all about.
Correct. And one of the easiest ways of remembering is getting into meditation.
Mhm.
Going into prayer, going in with a very specific intention, communing with your angels. Those are the ways in which I use to bring back the memory. That's where I'll get glimpses. I'll get inspiration. You'll get this knowingness.
Yes. Yep.
And also using our emotions when we hear something that says you can't do this and it doesn't feel good, that's because our heart says it's not true. So learning to listen, to trust, I mean, that's huge.
Yes. Well, it's truly getting in tune with yourself and your higher self
Yes.
and being one with it, not being separate. We're not this separate being here on earth. We are totally aligned with our higher self. We're
Yes.
aligned with source.
Correct.
So it's getting that direct connection to your higher self, to source, where you're in the flow with that. And you can feel the difference when you're in the flow.
Yes. Absolutely. You can absolutely feel the difference.
Yes. So it's really incredible journey of being a human and understanding that we have the power within us.
It's so true. And for our listeners who wonder what it's like to be in the flow, it's that feeling of total bliss. It's the feeling of, looking at your child the moment they're born, or looking at a puppy, or that feeling of just floating on a a raft in the most beautiful Caribbean waters and the sun's beating on you, or just the sense of being around the ones you love. It's that feeling as though everything makes sense and you're connected to everything.
And if somebody's having a really bad day, if you can go to a time where you did feel that bliss and
Hmm.
just sit and connect to that, it can just transform that bad day and
Yes,
you can get back in that flow.
absolutely.
So, final words for the listeners.
Is when you listen to part one and part two of what we did, it's designed for you to remember your power. It's designed for you to remember your greatness. And it's designed for you to remember that you're the creator of your life. And there's never a second of our life that we're stuck or trapped or that things can't change or can't get better. Don't ever doubt yourself and don't ever doubt creation and that you are always unconditionally loved.
Yes. And also, if you feel what's bad things happening to you, they're not happening to you. They're happening for you to move you forward to be who you're meant to be
Mhm.
or to change the course of your direction or a path you're on. So they're
Yes,
used for the benefit and good if you see them as that. I never look
absolutely.
at things as bad anymore. I look at things as, okay, it's changing the way I think or look at something, changing my direction I'm supposed to go in, and it's for my benefit to better me.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Because how do we
Beautiful.
learn? We learn through painful experiences.
Because it's through the painful experiences that we gain the most knowledge from. It's through the most contrast that we learn the deepest lesson.
Hmm.
We really can't appreciate abundance until we've experienced the opposite. We
Correct.
can't experience the joy of love until we've felt unloved. We can't enjoy the thrill of thin until we've been on the other side of it,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
that's the contrast. The deeper the challenge, the more profound the lesson.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
So may this help everybody on their journey of life to be a better human being and to view all the lessons in your life that you have as being a positive.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Holly.